All right, welcome back to the Bible Bearded and Bald. This is part 3 in our series on the life of Christ in chronological order, as told by the four Gospels. Today we're going to be looking at the genealogies of Jesus Christ. These are things that people like to skip over a lot because it's a lot of names, but we're not going to do that. There's some very interesting facts here. We're going to be going very quick. Matthew's gospel is different than Luke's in the genealogy department. It begins in the past with him being a son of Abraham. It also mentions he's a son of David. Why does he do that? And then it builds forward toward the time of Christ and the incarnation through Mary the Virgin. Luke's gospel in Luke chapter 3, verse 23 through 38, it begins with Christ and goes backward in time to Adam, and it mentions that Adam is the Son of God. There is a reason for this because Jesus came to take the place of Adam and be the second Adam. Adam was the original master of the earth, the original head of the human race. He was called a son of God because he was the representative of earth. Jesus came to undo all of the sin and rebellion that Adam brought to our race and to restore humans back to their rightful place. That's why it says in John chapter 1 verse 12, to as many as received him, to them he gave the right to become the sons of God, even to them that believe on his name. So when you accept Jesus as your Savior, you become a son of God, and your status elevates. Now back to Matthew's genealogy. It starts with him being a son of Abraham. There's a reason for this. When all of the nations, after the Tower of Babel, had distributed all over the earth, they were largely, every single one of them, en masse, pagan nations. They worshipped pantheons and different families of deities that often were at war with one another, often raped each other. Zeus, in particular, slept with goddesses and nymphs, spirits of nature, and even humans himself. Zeus took whatever looked good to him. And so when God saw this earth after the Tower of Babel, he started over with one man, Abraham, one man who believed in the one true God. And that's why it says over and over in the Old Testament that Israel is God's inheritance. Israel is another name for Jacob, who was the grandson of Abraham and got the name Israel. How did he get that name? Well, one day Jacob had a lot on his mind. He was facing Esau, his brother, and Jacob was thinking about his life of sin and being a deceiver, and he actually wrestled with God. He wrestled with God, and in the end, God gave him a new name, Israel, meaning one who contends with God or one who fights with God. And then the entire nation that's supposed to represent God to the earth is called Israel. And even in the New Testament, Christian believers are called the Israel of God. Now that's kind of weird, right? Why would you name the people who are your chosen ones? The ones who fight with me? The ones who strive with me? I think there's a lesson in that for us, in that God knows our sinful thoughts. He knows that we're in rebellion against him. And so that's going to manifest in ways that we need to settle with him. God is asking you to wrestle with him. Honestly, he's had enough of these flowery prayers where you're just repeating what other people say. You're reading out of prayer books and whatnot, or maybe trying to make yourself look good by praying in King James English. Thou art in the heavens. And I don't want to downplay that or anything. We need to be respectful to God. But if we have a gripe with God, and most likely we do, we need to take it to him. And so Abraham is the covenant. He is the original covenant son because he's who God started over with. So that's why Jesus is called a son of Abraham, because he's the son of the covenant. Now, moving onward, we got some problems, apparent problems, but they can be fixed. You have these two genealogies of Jesus, and they're totally different. And they both look like they're genealogies of Joseph, basically Jesus' stepdad. Matthew's gospel is straightforward. It seems to be a lineage of Joseph. Luke's gospel, I got ahead of myself there. Luke's gospel has Joseph as the son of Heli. Now, what's the issue there? It could have been a Levirate marriage, something that was practiced in those days where The brother of a deceased man married his widow and had children in their name. That's one solution, which I don't think is the issue. I think if you notice there in Luke 3:23, it says that Jesus, as was supposed, the son of Joseph. That Greek word is enumizeto, and it implies appeared to be, or to be in doubt, or was as supposed to be, or thought to be. Joseph was thought to be Jesus' father, but he wasn't really. Now, there's a crucial point here that needs to be made, because the line of kings that came through David and Solomon eventually got cursed in their son Jehoiachin. And you can find this in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 22, verse 30. Had to think about it. Jeremiah 22:30 says that he is cursed from having his son sit on the throne. So this creates a problem. And I had a Muslim point this out to me one time. How can Jesus be the king of Israel if the line after Jehoiachin is cursed? Well, Jesus biologically did not come through Joseph. If you look in Luke's gospel, it comes through a different son of David and Bathsheba, and that is Nathan. So a completely uncursed line that Jesus biologically came through. And so that clears up that problem. But, these two genealogies, I do not want you to just read through and assume that there's nothing to see here. There is much to be understood, much to be uncovered when you give it the study that it is due. Lastly, I want to point out in Galatians chapter 3, verse 29, that if you give your heart to Jesus, you are an inheritor of every promise given to Abraham. You're a member in full standing, and those promises will not be fulfilled until the New Jerusalem hits this earth and this earth is recreated, and then and only then will all of Abraham's promises that were made to him be fulfilled in the new earth. And there is no reason why you are not going to be a part of it, and you can be today by asking Jesus to be your Savior and your replacement.